What's the song from Catalyst that's always like super high besides all of them? I'm in and out of conversation. Why can't I think of the song title right now? My friends over you got on the radio, and us and Taking Back Sunday, we parked next to each other a lot, and we just hung out a bunch with them, and then came with Mark Hoppus too. And we all got pizza after the show. We did a version of Hit or Miss with Jerry Finn, who produced like Enema of the State and like a bunch of stuff. And he's like, "You guys heard of that band Sum 41?" And we're like, "No." And he had this like VHS, and it was like all this behind the scenes.
Did your mom ever pay back the band from stealing the CDs?
That is such a, I feel like that's like a made up story that Ian tells, because I don't know if that actually really happened. Yeah. Sorry if my voice is hoarse. We did like a whole weekend of promo for the record. So,
yes. Yeah. We're a few days out now.
Oh, yeah.
How does it feel at this point?
It's nice to like, it's nice for me to see the reaction, because you work on it for so long and you have this expectation, you know, which I take that back. I don't really have expectation, you know, but when it exceeds what I feel like it should be, that's always nice.
So the initial fan response has been positive and like just loving it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song off the album?
Yeah, I have. Medicine is one of them, and there's another one called Love Song that's really fun that we just did a video for. Savannah Moss, who's a TikToker, you know,
she's so good at her stuff.
Yeah, it's so funny and so fun, and she did the whole video herself. So I'm only in it for like 5 seconds, which is great.
Does she live here where you guys did it?
She met me down in San Diego, so we did like when I had to film my parts, and a lot of the parts that she did herself were down in Mission Beach, like at the old roller coaster and stuff. So yeah, it was fun, super fun.
What is the most challenging part for you now as a writer at this point in your career, this many albums in?
Probably like coming up with new ideas and trying to make every record like the best it could be, you know, because we've been doing it for, 30 years almost now, which is weird to think about.
Do you try and avoid past topics as intentionally so that it's new stuff for you?
Well, in a sense, like every record is just like kind of like a little timepiece of what's going on with the band, you know. So every record lyrically, it's actual things that are happening in real time. So, or reminiscing on past things, you know what I mean? So like on the new record, for example, like I mentioned a love song, like that was really thinking about like the first time I met my wife, and like that sort of inspired that song. And then Beer and Bloodstains, of course, is like nostalgia, you know, thinking about the old venues we used to play and literally kicking down ceilings and stuff. So yeah, it's always like a little like part of, you know what I mean? Like a little part of where we are in that moment. So
do you try and channel like as emotionally as you can to try and push it further from the previous album?
We try to, yeah. But because you don't want to come off as inauthentic, obviously, like you want to be relatable. And I feel like that's what's really helped with the longevity of the band, is that we're just dudes, you know, in a band, and we like write about things that are really happening, and I think people can relate to that. And don't get me wrong, like I love dramatic and like emotional lyrics. Like some of my favorite bands are those type of bands, you know. But I think for us, we've just established ourselves as like, we're your bros. If that sounds, that sounds funny, but I feel like that's real.
I feel like that's what keeps you guys transcending every single album. And
I think so, yeah.
It's reinventing, and like this is you guys, but you're finding a new way to show who you are every single time.
Yeah. Thanks, I appreciate that.
How does it feel releasing an album in today's day and age where streaming is king and you don't have to try and chase those physical sales?
Yeah, it's a lot less stressful, but also weird too, because back then, you know, we do have plaques from record sales, right? And I feel like that was never really like a goal for Newfound Glory. Like I think it just kind of happened, and that was really awesome. And so now that stuff doesn't really matter anymore, and it's just about, you know, people just streaming and downloading and whatever, like it's never really affected us, which is awesome. You know, we don't have to worry about it. And I really appreciate that and grateful for that with my band, because it's just one of those things where we always, even though we did cross over to mainstream and all that stuff, we've always really just had this like ethos of like staying true and like trying to be like, you know, I don't want to say punk rock because that sounds cheesy, but you know what I mean? Like we're just doing what we do.
Was there ever a point where you got lost in all of it happening? Like MTV Cribs is trying to push you to do something a
Yeah.
little harder, or you're doing a performance on Conan and you
Yeah.
want to try and stray away from who you guys really are to try and reach
No, I think if anything, we use it as a platform for like shouting out other bands we like and stuff like that.
like the band shirts that you're
Yeah,
wearing?
yeah, being on Conan and like wearing a Madball shirt or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think we've always just been about that. We just always been about community and like being just ourselves and down to earth. And I really do attest that to like, if that's the right word,
I
to
think it
like,
is.
yeah, to like being to the longevity of the band and why we've been around for so long.
What do you think the secret sauce is to you guys never taking a break and just continuously pushing out new music?
Um, the secret sauce.
Because 30
Yeah.
years is unheard of.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to think about because
Do you guys ever think about it?
not until like a couple weeks ago, we were like talking. We had a band meeting, like a phone call, like a couple weeks ago, and figuring out next year's plans and everything. And we're like, Chad brought up, dude, I just realized it's 30 years next year, and I was like, wait, what? That's so weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely strange. I mean, we started when we were so young. I was like 17 or 18 when we started the band. Chad was 15. Ian was 40. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Ian. That was a joke. Yeah. I mean, so it's weird to think about. But I think it really comes down to like again, just being true to ourselves and our fans and being grateful. Like I feel really grateful to be where I am.
It's so crazy because obviously you guys became friends over time, but it
Yeah.
wasn't found like friends and then you did a band. Like everyone kind of came together and everyone just did their part.
Yeah. Well, so I was in a band with Ian, before Newfound Glory, like a dumb, stupid band.
Were you singing?
I was singing and playing guitar, and then one day, I put the guitar down and started running around like the practice space, and Ian was like, "Bro, you should just sing," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't know what I'm doing," and that's kind of how that stuck.
I saw you at Montclair Fest in 2011 in New Jersey.
Okay, where's Montclair Fest?
New Jersey, Montclair State University.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was watching the video again and you were jumping everywhere. Do you think that you being a frontman, are you an extrovert?
I don't know. I feel like I'm like in the middle. I feel like I'm introverted, but also extroverted in some senses, in some ways. Uh, yeah, I don't know if I'm fully an extrovert.
Was commanding the stage always just natural?
No, 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 not at all. I had to kind of like learn as I went, you know? Um, I feel like for me, I would do much, much better like just chilling in the back with a bass guitar. Just like chilling, just on the groove, you know what I mean? With like a cig in my mouth, just playing bass, just kidding. But yeah, I feel like for me it's more I would like to it took a long time for me to like really come into like my own and my personality on stage and stuff. I really love bantering with the crowd, like making jokes and not taking it too seriously, you know what I mean? Sometimes my jokes come off really bad. Dad jokes 101, just come to see us play. And the guys in my band will always like bring up old jokes that I said, like it was really embarrassing, and always make fun of me. But
What was the moment where you really figured out who Jordan was on stage?
I don't know. I think honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out sometimes. Even after all this time, where like for years, like the guys would have to like slap me backstage and be like, "You're the singer, come on, man!" like okay, fine, But I don't know. I think it was like during those bigger years when we were like, Honda Civic tour, great example, like first tour ever playing in arenas and stuff, and had to really put it on, and like get better at keeping the feeling of the intimacy of like a small punk or hardcore show, but bringing it to like a huge audience. I feel like that was more of my focus, and I think it really set the band aside from other bands that were doing the same thing at the time. And I think that's where it really sort of started happening, like knowing I had to play bigger shows and but had to keep the crowd engaged. And how do I do that? And okay, well, the small punk shows, you're getting in the crowd and you're walking, giving people high fives and stage diving and stuff. So that's what I kind of started doing. Um, and yeah, I don't stage dive too much anymore, but yeah,
That world just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're
yeah,
doing more performances on television and selling more records and playing bigger shows.
yeah,
Did you
yeah,
How did you figure out how to handle all of it?
yeah.
Because, like you
It's
said,
ve-
staying true to who you guys are
yeah,
really never changed.
I just kind of did. I just kind of did because we had to. Um, I don't think there was anything like, I had to be, I had to have, develop a drinking problem or something to deal with it. It was never anything like that. It was more just like, I can't believe this is happening, first off, and let's keep it going as long as we can.
What was some of the best advice you had back in those days that stuck with you?
Stay humble. Yeah. Um, be nice to everybody. Try to be. Try to be nice to everybody. Um, give just as much of attention to like the local crew than as much as like you do to like other band dudes or whatever. Like if that makes sense. Like it's always cool to like be bros with like the band guys and stuff, but also give local crew and your crew credit all the time. And I don't know, because if you don't, then the shows can't happen. You know what I mean? And so like that was really good advice for us. Um, yeah, just being cool, man. Because like we run into so many bands, especially in like big festivals and different things. You meet a lot of different band guys and people and stuff, and I feel like I bring this up often, but it's like I just want to be normal. Like I just want people to be normal, and sometimes that's hard because you're sort of in a world where it's hard to be normal because you have to be on at 100 all the time. And I've learned over the years that you don't need to be like that. You can just be cool and like don't tell me I don't care about the numbers of what you're selling or like what venues you're blowing out. Like let's talk about just where you want to get coffee. Like you know what I mean? That's kind of how I've always lived my life in this world because I don't know. I it just feels better to be like that.
Did anyone take you under their wing to show you that mentality?
In some sense, like I would give a big shout out in that regard to like being on tour with Green Day. They are the most down to earth dudes. Like they're the biggest band ever, one of the biggest bands. And I remember we did 2 tours with them on American Idiot came out, and we did US tour, full US tour with them, and then we did a Europe tour later on with them, Europe and UK. After like being home for 2 weeks, they called us up and were like, "Hey, you guys want to do Europe too?" We're like, "Yeah." They're like, "The shows are sold out and everything already," but we didn't care. We weren't even on the flyers or anything, posters or nothing, but it was still awesome. But yeah, they were like so chill and so fun and really accommodating and really nice and like so after that tour, and we've always tried to do that too, especially with like opening bands and stuff. After that tour, we're like, these guys are legit, and they're a band to like look up to, especially like doing what we do. So ever since then, we always try to like be super accommodating for the opening bands and try to hang out and stuff. And I love knowing that about them, that they're just cool guys.
Touring with Green Day,
Yeah,
Blink,
yeah,
Good Charlotte.
yep, yep, yep.
What is the most chaotic times of those tours that come to mind?
Yeah, man. I think the most chaotic was probably if we're talking about those 3 tours, because us and Good Charlotte were kind of coming up around the same time. We were doing it a couple years longer, but so we did a Honda Civic tour together, um, and it was crazy, dude. Like it's so weird to think about because it went by so fast, it like because especially during that time, everything's happening so quickly, and like oh, the record just went platinum. Oh, we got this big tour. Oh, we're playing this huge radio station thing. Oh, we're doing that. And you're just like, just looking all around and like, what the hell is happening? And it just, you don't have time to really relish in it. So I think that was a big one, like during the Honda Civic tour, and then during the Blink tour too. When we toured at Blink, it was like they were on "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket," I believe, was the tour. So I mean, they were already massive, and being direct support for them, that was one of the biggest tours we ever did, supporting a band. That was really happening so fast too, because that was like coming off of like the self-titled record, which was doing well, and then right before Sticks and Stones came out. So just crazy all the time.
Oh, that was right before Sticks and Stones. So
Yeah,
you guys were
yeah.
playing songs off that?
We were only doing self-titled stuff and like, playing like Hit or Miss and Better Off Dead and that kind of stuff. Mark Hoppus would come out and play Sincerely Me with us every night, which was super fun, but such a wild time, like really like such a blur.
When you got that opening tour slot for Blink or Green Day,
Yeah.
what does that do for Newfound Glory? How does that elevate you guys?
It definitely pushed us over that, you get to this certain point and things are happening, and then all of a sudden you get put on tour with Blink and they're like, you're playing in front of, 15 to 20,000 people a night, sometimes more. It gave us a really good opportunity to like show people who we were and what we're about. And, again, bringing that like punk rock hardcore vibe to a big show like that. People, bands weren't really doing that at the time, especially on a big show like that. So that's what we did, and it just kind of, I don't know, people just loved it. So that's, I don't know.
As you're
It's so
getting,
weird. As we're talking about it, it's like weird to think about.
I love this.
Yeah, yeah.
As you're getting these bigger opportunities, does it feel like you're gonna stay in this space and there's security going forward?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you do think that. I feel like we were all feeling that, and luckily, we've been able to keep things going and be where we are, and it's really good, that we're able to still tour and play and you know have big shows and stuff. But there is always that slight chance that it could just be done too. So,
Did that cross your mind?
oh yeah, yeah, all the time.
Even
Um,
today?
even today,
Really?
yeah, yeah, because you just never know. You know what I mean? Luckily, we're a band that can have conversations and talk about stuff and deal with our crap. Um, before things get way too complicated. Um,
Were you always that way?
yeah, yeah, we were. And again, I think that is another aspect of the longevity of the band. No one's like kind of holding grudges or like keeping jealousy locked in and not, and then it comes out in weird ways, like Psych 101, you know what I mean?
In those early days,
hmm
how did everyone figure out their role in the band? Things are evolving. Is someone in charge of taking care of the merch? You're making sure that the show's about to run properly. Ian's doing something like, is everyone
yeah.
have their own roles as to make sure everything in Newfound Glory can happen?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think uh, a lot of the roles, even like to this day, like Chad does a lot of the business side of things. Even if he's not on tour, like because he's dealing with his health stuff, so he's even though he's home and not playing shows, like he's still like just grinding each day, making sure merch designs are being done and like things are happening, which I'm so grateful for. While he's doing that, we can still be playing the shows and giving it the best show we can. You know, um, I don't know what my role would be besides being the singer, but I've definitely, we've all made sacrifices. Obviously, like I when I have two kids and my older one is 15, so when he was first born, I mean, I was barely home, for like the majority of his like life, and only in the last like 5 6 years we've done the thing where we'll split our tours in half. We'll do a week or a couple weeks and then take a break and then do this. Same bands will come out on tour and we'll do the second half, but that wasn't until recent. So like from like age 0 to 10, I mean, I was barely around, and that's tough. But I forgot how I got in that subject.
No, it's so interesting. Do you think this is a good groove now?
Yeah, for sure. It's so nice to be able to have that and have, you know be at a point in our career where we can do that, not the tour coming up though, because us and Yellow Card are doing a tour together, and it's 5 weeks straight, which we haven't done in a long time. So
Did
that'll
he
be
ask you that at when we were young,
who
Ryan,
it to do the
about
tour.
that tour?
No,
Oh,
no. This came up a few months ago, but yeah,
are you excited to get back on the road with them?
yeah. It's been a minute since we've toured together, so and we have so much history together. Ryan, is a good friend, and um, all those dudes are super fun to hang out with and stuff. So it's good. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
What's your take on this whole pop punk resurgence? Bands are getting back together, tours are selling
Yeah,
out, everyone's playing bigger venues than ever.
I know. It's cool, and I don't know what to attribute that to. I can kind of tell you what my experience is of it, and to me, it's maybe kids that are just getting to the age where they're starting to explore musically, and I look out in the crowd, and it's a lot of young people still. It's not like old people, which is cool.
We're
There's
in the back of the
obviously
stage.
what.
We're in the back of the crowd.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of there. I mean, there are those got people, obviously, but they're bringing like their kids and stuff, and it's really cool to see. And I feel like that's sort of keeping it, going in a lot of ways. And of course, there's like if we're talking about like the pop side of things, like so many big pop artists love pop punk too, like especially ones that have kind of grown up listening to pop punk and then became a famous artist, like Olivia Rodrigo or like
Halsey comes to mind.
yeah, or even like Machine Gun Kelly,
Yeah.
um, and so that's really cool that we can sort of be adjacent to that, and it helps like bring this to bigger audiences, and I feel like it's a type of music, it's a subgenre of music that I think stays with people, um, and that's why it feels like it's bigger than it's ever been. Um, it's not like our parents' music where you listen to it now and it sounds outdated, but you listen to a pop punk record that came out 20 years ago, it still sounds like now.
Why do you
Does
think that is?
I don't know. I think well, actually maybe I do know. My opinion is that it feels real. It sounds good, like usually it's recorded well. Um and it's a type of music that you can put on at any time, like it either when you're feeling down or when you feel like you want to punch something or when you just want to drive super fast down the highway with your windows down.
Were you listening to much pop punk in the 2000s?
I'm thinking back.
Like when All Killer came out by
Yeah.
Sum 41.
Yeah, for sure.
You're checking all these albums out?
Yeah, I remember recording. What were we doing? So it was right after. It was right before we recorded the self-titled record with Neil Averon. We did a version of Hit or Miss with Jerry Finn, who produced like Enema of the State and like a bunch of stuff. And he's like, "Have you guys heard of that band Sum 41?" And we're like, "No." And he had this like VHS, and it was like all this behind the scenes footage to one of their songs, and it was them just being insane, like Jackass style. And we're like, who are these dudes? Like, this is crazy. This is awesome. And then that record came out, and then we were on tour. So this was like 99, 2000 or something. And we toured with opening for a band called Face to Face. And Sum 41 was on the tour. And they show up and they have like all these like brand new road cases and like all this stuff. We're like, who are these guys, And they just killed it every night, and it was awesome. But yeah, I think that a lot of Alkaline Trio. We loved Alkaline Trio. I'm trying to think who else at that time we were listening to a bunch of. Yeah, there's so much stuff. I mean, I for one, there are new pop punk bands too that I really like, but it's not like the music I tend to gravitate too much. Even back then, besides like the old school stuff that I liked, like Lagwagon and Descendants, and there was a lesser known band that we all loved called Zoinks. Have you ever listened to them before?
No.
They were like a kind of like a grittier. They almost sounded like Kerplunk era Green Day, or yeah, like Kerplunk era Green Day. They were on a record label called Doctor Strange Records, and they were so random, but they were awesome. And I just got rid of my Zoinks shirt because it just was falling apart. It's like just ratty and holes everywhere and everything. So kind of just the big tear in it now, so I can't wear it anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I tend to gravitate more to like the bands I grew up like listening to, Dinosaur Jr. and that kind of stuff. My Bloody Valentine. So
Would you keep tabs on like who's on the pure volume charts and who's doing these not
no,
really.
not no.
Just focus on Newfound Glory.
I try to, yeah, because I don't like to compare. I don't like to compete. Do you mean like seeing like? So explain your
Just
question.
like who's in the zeitgeist, who are you on the TRL countdown
Oh,
with, who's a possible band that you could tour with.
yeah, yes, in that regard, yeah, yeah. I try to, I do try to like seek out new bands and new music and stuff. It always, it's good, it's good for inspiration. It's good for just knowing what's going on. You know what I mean? And I'm really proud of Newfound Glory for that reason of like finding new bands and taking them on tour. Um, Lots of cool bands have toured with us, and have blown up, which is not saying that it's because of Newfound Glory, but it was cool to be able to find new bands and just listen to stuff and share it with our friends and everything, and bring these bands on tour like Story So Far and Turnstile and Turnover and I don't know, This Wild Life, and I'm trying to think who else, Hot Mulligan, so many bands that we've toured together, and it's been such a really cool experience watching some of these bands just take off,
Did you
It's
ever
really
talk
cool.
with Story So Far or All Time Low about
Yeah,
them naming?
yeah, it's cool. It's flattering for sure. Um, I text with Will from Story all the time.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's
I've only
hilarious.
DM'd with him a couple
You
times.
jammed with him?
DM'd with
Oh,
him.
DM'd with him. Sorry.
We'll jam one day.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's awesome. What up, Will? Um, yeah, it's really cool. It's fun. It's fun to see like good bands coming up and doing well.
Let me just. There's something. The air conditioning hits this
Oh yeah, no way.
shade outside.
I can't even hear it, dude. That's how bad my ears are.
How's your hearing after all these years?
It's not great. It's not the greatest. I do have like tinnitus. So like when it's really quiet, it bothers me at night, so I have to put a fan on or something. Um, which I should have just taken my mom's advice and worn like earplugs all those years, but I never did. I do when I watch other bands, but not when I'm playing.
Would
I just feel too isolated.
do in-ears help prevent?
No.
Oh, it
Not
doesn't.
for me, because I blast that crap, dude.
Jordan.
It's so loud. I know. It's so, but for me, I need to like feel the energy, and even in-ears are weird. Like, I don't really love them. I still have trouble having good shows with in-ears, but I'll do it because it's necessary, especially, you know, playing like a amphitheater and I want to jump in the crowd and I need to be on time with the band, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I gotta be better at that, and I'm not. And my wife's always like, "You don't hear that ticking sound?" I'm like, "What ticking sound?" She's like, "Jordan," like exactly what you did. So yeah, I got to get better, but I got to get better at.
What is the 20 minutes before a Newfound Glory performance look like for you?
Oftentimes we have like a little speaker backstage and blast some music that we like, or there was a moment for a while where we were like slapping each other as hard as we could in the face to like wake each other up. Come on, slap me. It's such a frat boy thing to do, and that's not us at all, but like for whatever reason it got everybody hyped.
Who slaps the hardest?
Ian. Ian slaps hard. Chad slaps hard too, but Ian does it on purpose. He'll slap you as hard as he can. Yeah, and you just kind of go out there. I try not to think about it too much, or else I get too like in my head, Um, so I used to like do a lot of warming up and different things, and it would just I feel like I lost my voice more doing that. Where now it's just like I just pound water all day and like talk to people, and we're typically doing like a VIP like acoustic thing or something, so that helps with warming up and yeah, I try not to baby the voice too much, and then it seems to be okay. Like because when I think about it and baby it too much, that's when things start to go south for me. Um, I feel like people can know like what tour I've been warming up too much and what tour I haven't been. So,
How do you feel about the Newfound Glory Kill It Live album? With your vocals, the
yeah,
music.
I felt like it was really done well. We did 2 nights at the Chain Reaction. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was really cool. We did 2 nights of Chain Reaction, and we recorded this. We wanted to make sure it was gonna be in an iconic small place in Southern California. We were all living here at the time, everybody, so it just made sense to do it in a place like that. Um, and for whatever reason, Orange County for us is always, like, really awesome. Um, because we could have, of course, come to LA and done, like, a Troubadour or something, but Chain Reaction is just we got a lot of our start there, played so many shows there. Um, so we did it at Chain Reaction, and uh, every person that came in through the door, we took a photo of them, and all the fans are in the layout of the CD, which is really fun. I feel like it came out really good, man. Like the first night, Chad got electrocuted, so that wasn't fun. But luckily, we had this, and he ended up being fine. But luckily, we had that second night to kind of like grab stuff that we didn't because of the first night. Um, and yeah, the energy was awesome. Like it was just, sweaty and just packed, and
I thought it captured Newfound Glory perfectly.
yeah, for sure. And that was the whole point, it was for people that may have never been able to get to a show, or see us. So I feel like it captured really well.
What is a good Newfound Glory performance to you?
I would say for me personally, I think it's like if I sang good, one, and if the crowd was really awesome. Because if the crowd's boring, then we're not, we try because you can only like do so much if the crowd's boring. So we'll give it our 100%, like 101% energy, even if the crowd sucks, and we'll still give it our all and try to. But if the crowd's like super into it and like going off, then that's like, I love that. That's my favorite.
When you guys get off stage for like Conan O'Brien
Uh,
and you know it's gonna be televised and you killed it,
yeah.
is just the energy and the morale just so high? Like
Oh
we
yeah.
did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Super, super high morale. Like it's because it's so nerve wracking before you go out there, knowing that however many people are, everybody watches Conan, right? Or Jay Leno or any of those shows. And so when we were doing those things a lot, it was really stressful. Like I'm speaking for me. I've actually like over the years learned to deal with like my, the last couple of years dealing with my stresses and anxieties. But back then it was like I don't want to sing bad. Like I want to make sure it's good, and yeah. So when it's like comes off good, and you're like, all right, we can like chill now and like enjoy the moment.
So are you
Yeah.
on tour and those opportunities come in? You're like, ah, shit.
Sometimes, sometimes, yeah. And it's silly because it's such an amazing opportunity. Why like let my anxiety take a hold of me, and like why am I thinking about that? But sometimes it just is what it is. Anxiety is rough. So I'm glad that I'm glad that we did it, and I'm glad that we had those opportunities.
What about album release days or the days leading up before, the days after? Do those get stressful?
At this point, I'm not super stressed. Uh, Again, like no expectations really, and I don't know if that's a good way to live or not, but obviously you want people to like love what you're doing, and so I don't know. I don't know. I try not to think about it too much because if I do, then I'll just spiral, and I really want people to just experience a new record for themselves and not it's really fun to like find a record that you've never listened to before and put it on and either be super hyped on it you know or not, and I want that experience for people too. So I don't like to really push anything or like give my opinion on it.
If we had to push something onto it,
Yeah.
if we had to push something onto someone new who
Yeah.
doesn't know Newfound Glory, what album would you want them to listen to?
Ooh. Um
What encapsulates the entire?
yeah. I think Catalyst for me. Yeah, I think Catalyst because I feel like it encompasses a lot of the parts of Newfound Glory. Like there's like the more emo kind of slower songs like I Don't Want to Know, but then there's like the heavier, more hardcore adjacent influence songs like Biggest Mistake. There's All Downhill From Here, which was like the crossover song. So I feel like there's something for everybody on that record, and it's a long record. I think there's like 14 songs, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Were you guys
Um,
trying to hit that many songs?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, at the time, yeah. And I think after that would probably be for me personally. It goes like Catalyst, Coming Home, then I love Radio Surgery also. Um, those are my three favorites. And I really like the new record too. Like I feel the new record was sort of a return to form in some ways. Um, there's songs on this record that can fit on any of our earlier stuff, but also like fresh and new sounding too. Um, so yeah, that would kind of like if no one's heard it before, listen to Catalyst, then Coming Home.
Catalyst took a little bit of a darker
Yeah, it was a
turn
little
from
darker.
pop punk.
Hmm.
Was there intention behind that?
There was, yeah, because at the time there was all these bands coming out were that didn't really have like kind of out of nowhere, you know, and so this was kind of like our response to that in a way, where like we're not like these other bands, like we're not lumped into that. We might be pop punk, but we're not pop, you know, we're not whatever. So like, um, this was kind of Catalyst was a response, I think, in a lot of ways to that.
And that was the
Really.
highest charting album.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, on MTV and stuff, yeah, like all downhill from here was TRL retirement home. You know, it's just so weird. Have a like a plaque and stuff. Is so wild.
That music
Just
video, was that hard to film?
actually knows one of the easiest videos I've ever filmed because the parts where we're in it is just in front of a green screen in this big studio that we did like in Burbank somewhere. Everything else was animated, and that was done like off. You know, it was a company from a French company, animation company that did it. Um, so yeah, it was really easy. I think that like I was there for a couple hours, you know. But I love that video, man. It's so quirky and weird, and we wanted kind of Tim Burton-esque, you know, and so it was really fun.
How involved in the music videos and the ideas and all of the marketing were you part of?
I mean, a lot of it, yeah. And I think that's what was cool about us, even though we were on after the first few records, we got onto a major label and everything.
MCA Geffen?
Yeah, MCA, Geffen, and then that all went under, and then it turned into Interscope, and then Interscope, you know, every record I felt like we were on a different major label, but in that umbrella. Um, but what I think was cool is that we were, in a sense, sort of like given a pass to like, you guys do whatever you want to do. You guys know your band more than we do, kind of thing. And I feel like that really helped because we had the money and the backing of a major label, but still, and so we were able to do whatever any idea we had, we were able to do, which was really cool, you
All
know?
that creative control was your guys'?
Yeah. And they're just like, if you guys think it's good, then like that's what we'll do, you know? Um, and that's kind of like how it's always been, which was really a cool experience. And I know a lot of bands don't really have that experience when they go to a major label, you know, especially in that era, you know. It's always like, all right, well, the label wants us to go to pop radio, or the label wants us to put this single out. But there was obviously a little bit of that, like they had their ideas, but we were always able to say yes or no to anything, which was really cool.
Are you happy with the lead singles that came out of that album in the order that they came out?
Yeah, 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 definitely. Um, Coming Home was after that, and that one was the singles on that were a little questionable. I think I would have done it differently. I think I would have put out like, um, what's the song? Hold My Hand. I'd put out Hold My Hand as the first single because that record was so vastly different from anything else we've done, and I feel like Hold My Hand was a little bit of more of a bridge, you know, and then would have done It's Not Your Fault later on, you know. But anyway, that's the past.
You had celebrities in the music videos too.
Yeah, yeah.
Did that help get exposure to Newfound?
A little bit for sure. Um, you know, being in the music industry and being a part of this whole world, it's like it's inevitable to cross paths with similar entertainment like worlds, you know. So we've become friends with different people like over time, and obviously different band people too and everything. So we've always had like we'll always ask, you know. It doesn't hurt to ask. You could always say no, you know, and luckily a few times we've had, you know, pretty famous people be in the videos, so it's pretty fun.
What makes you say yes to being a guest feature on someone's song? Because I imagine
I
over the years you've gotten many
Yeah, yeah.
requests.
I've gotta for me, it's, like, all about feeling, like, I gotta really love the song and know at least a little bit of what the artist is about. Um, I was on not that long ago, Black Bear put out, like, a more pop punkish record, and I remember so he was getting I was because I tattoo on the side, like, as, like, a hobby, kind of fun thing, and I really enjoy it. Um, unfortunately, it's not my full job, but, I would love to do it more. But, I was tattooing with my buddy Kelly, and he tattoos all of Black Bear's stuff, so he came in, and I kinda already knew who he was, and I just made a passing joke. I was like, "Yo, let me get up on a track one of these days." And he was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." And then, like, nothing really came of it, and then a couple years later, he's like, "Hey, you wanna sing on this song?" So that was really fun. Um, yeah, I just gotta, like I feel like for me, it's all about, like, feeling. I don't wanna come off as, you know, I'm doing it just to do it, you know? Um, yeah, I gotta feel it, man. I gotta feel it. And he sent me the track, and it was super catchy, and I felt like it fit well.
How does it work if someone wants to license a Newfound Glory song for for a movie or a TV
Um,
show?
yeah, it's usually, like, through publishing or something, like our, like, publisher,
Do you get the
people.
sign off on it?
Yeah, yeah, well, for certain things, like, for sometimes you'll hear our song on, like, an NFL football game, like, in between or something, like,
Like
that's
Madden?
yeah, Madden is something we would have to sign off on, like, but if you're watching a football game or a hockey game or something, they play a bump, during the is that what it's called, a bump?
I think so.
They bump to the commercial, like a song, like, that's usually, like, the publishing company just kind of, like, putting things out there.
So the bigger things you
Yeah,
guys get to.
yeah. It was for a video game or a movie or whatever, like, yeah, that kinda we kind of have to sign off on it, yeah.
Was there one opportunity that sticks out in mind that was really good for the band? Like being in Madden?
Yeah, yeah, Madden's always great because so many people get to hear the song, and it's played
Nonstop when they turn
nonstop.
it on.
Yeah. Um, but also, like, doing the American Pie movie too, like, and having it in the movie at, like, this really pivotal moment, and this, like, slow-mo.
Which song was it?
It was hit or miss. Yeah. Um, during them, like, this really big moment where they're like, "All right, we're gonna do this thing," and, like, walking in slow-mo down the beach, and then our song comes on, and I remember when that came out, we were on tour in the van somewhere in the middle of, like, Nebraska or something, and we had a day off, and we found this little tiny movie theater that was playing it, and we go to see the movie, and the part comes on, and there was maybe, like, 2 other people in the theater, and the part comes on, we're like, "Woo, yeah, that's us!" It's so funny. Weird memory, but yeah.
The camaraderie amongst you guys just seems so tight, and that's really the glue as to why it's been going on for so long.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because again, like, we're all so grateful that we're here being able to do what we're doing, and I feel like that comes across, and talking about that a lot and realizing where we are, and I think all of it kind of just really it's it is the glue. Yeah.
I have to pry
Yeah.
because you said there was a text message about 30-year anniversary.
Oh.
What might be on
don't
the
I don't I
table?
don't know yet,
Ah,
honestly.
you could leak
I
it.
swear, honestly, I don't know because we're still trying to figure out, like, what we're gonna do because we do wanna make it special. We don't wanna, like it's gotta be special. When we did the 20-year tour, we deliberately played multiple nights in smaller venues so we could do 2 records a night. And now we have more records since then, 10 years later. Um, so I don't know. I have no idea what we're gonna do yet. Um, I want it to be something fun and cool for the fans and fun for us. What that is yet, I don't know. I don't know.
How
It's
hard
got it's got to be something cool.
how hard is it for you to design a set list at this point?
It's hard and it's not.
Like,
Like
you
we
know the opening, you know the ending.
Yeah, it's been fun actually to end the shows lately with understatement. It's been really fun. Usually that's like a in your face kind of opener. Um, but it's nice to like because you're playing for over an hour and a half, playing an hour and a half. So like towards the end of the set, people are starting getting tired and like the energy's kind of low, and then you come out with an understatement, it just sets off everybody again. So it's fun.
Do you do the encore, my friends,
Y-
understatement?
No, it would be like understatement ending the full set and then an encore like later. Yeah.
Do you agree with the encore? Do you think it's important for an artist to do an encore?
I honestly, I gotta sit up. Ugh. I honestly think it depends on the. Hmm. I think it depends on the venue, for me,
Like the
or the
size?
show. Yeah, because would feel kind of. So we did like a 200 cap room for our record release in Nashville, and we didn't do an encore. Like we just played everything all the way through because it's like, what are you gonna do? Walk off stage where everybody can like see you, Because it's this little tiny stage, and it's like, so I think it just depends on the show and where you are.
For you as the singer, are you ever
Yeah.
back there like, why are we doing this? Like, let's just go out now.
Sometimes,
Do
yeah.
you need a way for the chant to come on? Like,
Um,
one more song,
they
one
just
more
I don't.
song.
It usually just kind of happens because I think that's like protocol now, and people know that. So yeah, it's just kind of sometimes it feels a little weird, but it's fun. It's whatever.
For like the drive-through record days,
hmm
did it feel like there was big camaraderie amongst the bands like you, Phoenix
Oh
TX,
yeah, yeah,
Starting Line? Like, did it feel like you guys were in this capsule of time?
yeah. It definitely felt that way. We even did like a full on like drive through tour. It was like so fun. Us and Finch and Something Corporate and Further Seems Forever was on the tour, but they weren't on drive through. But I don't know, they just felt like a part of it for some reason because they were friends of ours. Um, it was an interesting time. Drive through really gave us our shot. We were on a couple smaller labels before drive through, and when I say smaller, I like drive through was a small label. Like the only band I actually knew on drive through was Phoenix TX, just because they had opened for Blink and stuff. Like before my band was touring a lot, we would go see them play, Blink play, and Phoenix was on the tours. And then years later, Will, the singer, Will Salazar, um, he's like one of my closest friends, and to this day still. He was in my wedding and everything. So, but it's it felt like this, like you said, like a capsule, like a moment encapsulated in time, because I felt like Drive Through really put their name on the map, because brought bands that were they signed bands that were kind of like different in a way, like Something Corporate, for example, and Andrew McMahon's stuff, and like this piano rock band that was on a label that was putting out pop punk records and stuff, and it was just, and then Finch being like the heavy sort of Deftonesy at the time, like kind of vibe, and then like bands like, remember Alistair, like straight up like pop punk Screeching Weasel
Somewhere
vibe.
down in Fullerton, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, yeah. So they had this really, and Starting Line, of course, and super catchy and more of that emo side of things, and to have this eclectic mix and everyone just like touring together was just, this is just how it is. Like, this is what we do, and I love that. Um, and it's kind of sad that drive-through is not really a thing anymore, and I hope that one day it can turn into a thing again. Um, we just saw Richard and Stephanie in Nashville at our record release party show. It was fun to see them.
How are they doing?
They seem good.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. Gave him a shout out on stage, and I saw Stephanie in the crowd finger pointing to Hit or Miss when we played Hit or Miss. But yeah,
Did
they
you?
signed us at a pool party, so that's
Uh,
how.
and they re-released the Nothing Gold Can Stay
Yeah,
album.
yeah. Because so nothing I'll go say was on a South Florida like hardcore label called Eulogy Records, which some people might know Eulogy from older bands, but like more newer would be like Set Your Goals. They put out Set Your Goals records and stuff. Um, and then when we signed a drive through, they re-released it.
When you switched over to drive-through, did you change your name from A Newfound Glory to Newfound Glory?
Was it during drive through time?
Is that when you switched it?
I feel like that's right. Sometimes timeline gets fuzzy, but I feel like that might be right.
What was the purpose of that?
I honestly, like, for finding it in the store. Like, stores would be like, we don't know where to put this record, under A or under N. Or like, this is so dumb. Let's just take the A off. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. so a Newfound Glory turned to Newfound Glory, and that's just kind of what stuck. But um, yeah, they re-released Nothing Gold Could Stay with like a new layout with nicer photos and different things, and then we did our first cover song record, with them, and then when we were about to do the self-titled record, we got like the upstream to MCA. That's kind of how that happened. So we had a few records out before we signed to the major, but Drive Through was the first to be like, if you guys want this to happen, you gotta tour. Like you gotta go on tour. And Ian, years later, finding out that Ian was the one to pull Richard and Stephanie aside and be like, these guys are all in school and they don't want to quit school and their jobs to like go on tour, and you gotta make it sound like it's coming from you. Because Ian quit his job before we even like went on our first like out of state show. So, so we were like, he's like, you got to make it happen. So like they did, and they bought us a van. They helped us buy a new van, and we just after that it was kind of like, now we're here.
When you were first starting out and you're making money in those days, is that money just from playing a show
Yeah,
and selling merch?
yeah, merch.
And you're
Yeah,
reinvesting it all back in the band
mostly. Yeah, yeah. Come home with like $800 and be stoked.
from a full tour?
Yeah, like a van tour. Yeah, it was mostly just from us like DIYing a lot of stuff, a lot of shows, basements, and all the typical stuff, when you're first starting out. I remember doing a show in Kentucky, playing touring in a van and playing a show in Kentucky, and it was us and Wesley Willis played in this like garage. It was like a storage unit when they rolled up the garage door, and we played in the storage unit, and that was the show. And playing like the basement of the girls' dorm at Rutgers College, and like with some thinking back now, there was some really cool bands. There was this, I think they were a Jersey band. They're called Radar Mercury. They were really cool. They played that show. Yeah, I don't know, just and then kind of just kept playing and playing and playing and playing. That's all we did.
Anywhere that they could have you,
Yeah,
you guys
anywhere.
would go.
Yeah, yeah.
Was there a show that you think really pushed you guys that moved the needle?
I think it was a combination of just like constantly touring and playing little dumps, and then all of a sudden getting on tour with Blink.
Oh, it went like that.
Kinda. I mean, we were playing, we were like what's the word? Not upgrading. I don't. Why did I say
Just like
that?
leveling up to
Leveling up
bigger
to
venues.
bigger rooms, like because we did do a lot of tours of hardcore bands. Like Snapcase took us on one of our bigger tours. They were playing bigger rooms.
And you were playing the self-titled at that point?
No, not yet. We were still Nothing Gold Could Stay.
Oh, wow.
MXPX gave us shows. A week of shows in the South in Florida. So we were doing that type of that type of touring. And then right before self-titled, after we recorded self-titled, we were playing in San Diego, and self-titled had already come out, and I remember our A&R guy, he was like, I want to set you guys up with a meeting with Rick DeVoe. And Rick DeVoe managed Blink, and he came to our show in San Diego at this place called Cane's, which is not around anymore, RIP, in Mission Beach. And he came with Mark Hoppus too. And we all got pizza after the show. And Rick was like, I want to manage you guys. And that's kind of how that started. And I remember going to the pizza place in Mark's car. And I get in, and the car turns on, and all of a sudden, like, our cover song record like starts blasting. And I remember he had like the 10-disc changer in his like trunk of his car, and he had like our self-titled in there, and the cover record in there and stuff. So it was really cool. And that's kind of how the whole, how it started to start a climb, and then getting on tour with Blink like a couple years later, a year or two later.
What are those days leading up to the self-titled release? Because
Yeah,
I feel like in artists in those days, it went from like really like tough, not tough sounding, but like, it's not as highly produced.
yeah,
And then out of nowhere, it's like your vocals sound so clean and crisp.
yeah,
What is it? Is that just getting better studio space?
definitely.
And
Definitely. And it was our first record with Neil Avron too, so he like really pushed to like, especially with vocals, like trying to get the best takes, you know.
That was your first time with the producer pushing you like that?
Yeah, 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 first time. Um, and that record, like, I don't know if this ages me, it probably does, but we recorded that record to tape. You know, there was, I mean, Pro Tools was and all that stuff was coming out. I know he used it a little bit for the record. I remember him, putting things together on the computer, but it was to tape.
Are you impressed with how you sounded at that point?
Yeah, when that record came out, I was like, this sounds awesome, you know?
Who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy? Um, uh, but yeah, I think it had to do with a lot of like with Neil pushing, and then of course, you know, just singing things over and over again, and the studio being really good. When we record and recording self-titled was really a crazy time in life because we were still living at home with our parents, and we just got onto MCA Records, and we're in this really nice studio in Florida, in South Florida. So because it was in South Florida, all of our friends would like come and hang out at the studio. So it would be a room like this size, and it was a TV, those big like box TVs like from back in the day, like the huge ones that with like a Xbox plugged into it, and just everyone chilling and playing Xbox in this small room while like I was tracking vocals, and then like my mom would come and hang out in the studio, and or whoever, and it was just a really fun time in life. And we had our van from drive through, so like uh Cyrus would pick everybody up from our houses, or and take us to the studio, and then get home late at night, and be dropped off by Cyrus, and just it's a fun time in life, at that time.
Did your
Just
mom ever
exciting.
did your mom ever pay back the band from stealing the CDs?
That is such a I feel like that's like a made up story that Ian tells, because I don't know if that actually really happened or not. It was our All About the Girls EP, and I think she brought some to like her work at the doctor's office that she was working at, to like, this is my son's band. Like sell them for like $5 or whatever.
Little Jordan's new band, you gotta
Yeah,
listen.
yeah. And I think like 3 people bought the CDs, and she had $15. So I don't know if she ever paid the band back the $15 or not, but I'll try, and I'll just take it out of my money and pay back the band.
When Sticks and Stones comes out,
Yeah.
does your life change overnight as that album hits?
I got to think about timeline now, because sometimes it's hard to remember the timeline, but
Because that's 2002.
yeah, yeah. Things were just like we're cruising along. Like we were touring a lot. We did that Blink tour. Um, and that was a really great way to like transition into the Sticks and Stones time. Um, Recording that record in San Diego was really fun. We did it at Signature Sound in San Diego, which is this really tiny. I don't even know if it's around anymore, but it was in this like business park. This one level, not even multi-level business buildings, but this one level like almost strip mall vibe, and little tiny hangout room, and a tiny studio space. And Blink did Enema there, and POD recorded there. I mean, tons of like bands from the area, San Diego.
Is that where Jerry Finn worked out of?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he didn't work out of there, but he recorded the record there. Yeah.
Did he do the entire Sticks and Stones?
Jerry Finn did not do Sticks and Stones. Neil did Sticks and Stones. Yeah. Jerry did a version of Hit or Miss before we went with Neil to do the full record, because to see if it like vibed and stuff. And his approach was definitely different than Neil's, but I don't know. It's cool. If you ever get a chance, you can find it online. The Jerry Finn mix, or the Jerry Finn version. Um, but yeah, so we recorded in San Diego, and that was a great time. And that's kind of like when I decided like this is where I wanted to stay and stuff. And um, interesting time of life too. Like just not really knowing what to expect for our second like major record. And I never would have thought it would turn into what it did, you know. Um, my friends over you got on the radio and all that crap, like just hearing it for the first time on the radio, and it was just such a weird time of life. Um, and thankfully the band had already done a lot of the groundwork to establish ourselves, and not so much relied on the radio and different things like that, because we've just always just did everything ourselves. So even if that record turned into being a flop, like it wouldn't have really changed much for us. As a in regards to like playing shows and things like that. We
Continuing.
would have just played shows and continued doing what we did, but it just ended up being not the case. And then we did the video and had like all of our famous buddies at the time in the video, and so it just really pushed us to the next level.
I just realized Travis Barker was in that.
He was, yeah. Travis and Brody and Tim Armstrong and
Who's the guy
yeah,
swinging?
the guy swinging. He was just like a stunt guy, like in the superhero costume. Yeah, and all that video is like references to real things at our shows that would happen. So like there was this kid that would always dress up as a superhero and stage dive at our shows. I think in Atlanta or somewhere. I can't remember, but so we wanted to pay a little ode to that, and just having all this like random stuff. Our manager Rick at the time, he was the Domino's pizza guy that delivered the pizzas, and that was an ode to like the Blink Damn It video because he was the popcorn guy in the Damn It video, selling the concessions guy. Yeah, a lot of fun little things in there.
My Friends Over You was the last song written for that album.
Yeah.
Was there ever conversation to not put it on the album?
It was more of like, dang, I just want to be done. kind of a conversation. Like, all right, let's record it. And so we did. We had like a day left or so. Cyrus like tracked the drums that morning, and yeah, just did it all that day. The last day, pretty much, of the recording.
Have you ever thought about if that song didn't get released?
Yeah, it's weird to think about, but
What do you think the lead single would have been?
maybe It's Been a Summer.
I've always loved Something I Call Personality.
Me too.
I think, is that a really fun song to play live?
Yeah, it's a really fun one. I like playing all the faster ones too because it gets the crowd all hyped and circle pitting and stuff, and then that gets me hyped.
Could we do some rapid fire?
Mhm.
Favorite New Found Glory song to play live?
Favorite New Found Glory song to play live? Understatement.
Why?
It gets the crowd hyped. Just pumps them up.
That's crazy. You
And I
save it
love
till
that.
the end sometimes.
I know. Yeah. It's been fun to play it at the end too.
Most underrated pop punk band of all time?
Oh geez, underrated? Underrated pop punk band of all time. Oh god, that's a hard one.
You know, Skip?
Yeah, let's come back to that one.
What was your go-to tour snack? Every time you were at a gas station, what are you running in for?
Sour Patch Kids.
Really?
Yeah, it's so bad.
What was the go-to rest stop? Like restaurant? Was it Taco Bell?
No, Taco Bell, but Denny's usually was our jam.
That was the spot.
Yeah.
What would you
Open
get?
late, moons over my hammy, of some sort, like something like that, or like what was the other one? The turkey one, the turkey sandwich, some flying bird or something. I don't remember, but yeah.
Most chaotic Warped Tour memory?
Probably 2002, coming off like the height of Sticks and Stones and being one of the headliners on the tour and going out to sign stuff like along the fence line, and people started noticing that I was signing stuff, and it was like chaos, and the fence almost got pushed over, and they had to like get a bunch of security people to come and stuff. I felt like I was like Paul McCartney or something.
I mean, you were at the forefront of it.
Yeah. It's weird. to
Was
think
it
about.
weird in that moment too?
Yeah, it's always weird, like when people just want me to put my name on their stuff, because I'm just trying to. I don't know. I'm just here, man. I don't know.
2000s pop punk song you wish you wrote,
Ooh,
either lyrically or because it's just a badass song.
yeah. 2000s. Probably American Idiot.
Was that cool seeing them play it live every night?
Yeah, so cool. And when we first start side story. When we first started touring on that tour, the first show was like Galveston, Texas or somewhere. And the show was big, it was in an arena, but it wasn't fully sold out. And then as that record like kept getting more play and seeing the shows just getting bigger and bigger, and every show sold out, like it was really cool to see. And to experience that while they were experiencing it, and to just see how humble they were, and how psyched they were. It was really fun.
How would you process performing in an arena?
How would I process it? I would process it in the same way I process playing a small show. I have to, or else I'll get too overwhelmed. I kind of have to tell myself, just, you got this kind of thing, kind of like self-talk. You got this. Like there's a lot of people, but just, you know, make it engaging. Look at the crowd, engage with people. Like that's kind of how I have to like psych myself out up.
Where do you find the balance of talking to the crowd to try and get them to jump around
Yeah.
and playing the song and too much Jordan and not enough band, and
Yeah.
where does that all lie?
I think it all really lies in I think it goes to I think it has to go together like hand in hand with how the crowd is reacting to making it the right moments to like say something or like tell the crowd to jump up and down or whatever. Like if again, if the crowd is like super dead and boring, I don't really want to like interact that much, but I kind of force myself to. Um, and that's fine. Like that's what you do. Like that's what I'm here for. But also, it's really nice when people react to what you want them to do. So,
What's the energy like at a When We Were Young Fest where it's just all this music coming back
mhm,
together?
really awesome. Like I feel like when we were young, the first few years, I don't know if they're still doing it, but the first few years were really great because it was right after, you know, coming off of COVID and people just wanted like things to do and they want to see bands that they grew up listening to. And I think when we were young, really like nailed that part of things. So people were just hyped all day, it seems like, because I would walk around and go see like bands we're friends with or whatever, watch their show and stuff, and people would be hyped, even for like the side stages, you know. Sometimes the side stage would have more people than the main stages, which is really awesome. Um, so it's a good vibe.
Who would you gravitate to go see? Who's on that bill that you had to go see them
Um,
perform?
I wanted to see, so I went and watched Saves the Day. This was like the last year we played it. Not yeah, we did Sticks and Stones in its entirety, which was really fun. Um, went and saw Saves the Day. Went and watched Thursday. You know, I like to go see like and like hang outside stage with like my friends that are gonna play. So we just banter and catch up a little bit. And went and watched Bayside. Um, yeah, that's the first three that come to mind that I remember going and watching.
Is it trippy to have to go back and listen to Sticks and Stones and relearn the lyrics off songs that
Yeah. Um, at this point though, especially with those older records, we've played all those songs a lot. Um, so I don't really have to go back and listen to them. Like they just come. It's just like second nature to play those songs. Some of the newer records though, there's a lot of songs on different records that are newer that we maybe never played. So um, a great example was this record release show we did in Nashville, and we tried to make the set like way different than normal. So we put on like Barbed Wire from the Makes Me Sick record, which we've never played really. Stories of a Different Kind from Resurrection, which we never played. Um, we did Oxygen from Coming Home, which we haven't played in many, many years. So since I think the 20-year anniversary. So
what's the hardest song for you to sing live?
there's a lot.
I sang too high early then.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, dang, why did I sing this so high? It depends on where it is in the set, but Oxygen's kind of hard. The "You're My Oxygen" taglines at the end of the chorus. If it's earlier in the set, it's good. If it's later in the set, it's not great. Um, what else? Um, what's the song from Catalyst that's always like super high? Besides all of them. I'm in and out of conversation. Why can't I think of the song title right now? It's so bad. Oh, oh God. Anyway, you know what song I'm talking about.
That is extremely high.
It's high. Yeah, it just depends where it is in the set.
Back to the rapid fire.
Yeah,
Favorite lyric you've ever written?
probably An Empty Chair at All the Tables. Yeah,
What song is that?
Sunny. Yeah,
I feel like that really transcended.
yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, like I tattoo here and there, and I've done a few Sunny tattoos, which has been really cool to like commemorate like someone that passed away or something.
If people listening want to book you, how do they do that?
Just Instagram. I have my contact for that on there.
Do you tattoo yourself?
I have tattooed myself, yes. A lot of unfinished business on my knee above my leg because I tried to poke some stuff in to. I know hand poke for people can be here or that, neither here or there, but um, some people think it's lame. But I love the way it looks. Like I love. There's some really awesome hand poke tattoo artists out there. Um, One comes to mind, Jenna Boma. I think that's how you say your last name, but she goes by Slower Black on Instagram. I love her stuff. It's insane. Like all just with with a needle in her hand, just poking these insane, amazing tattoos.
Does that hurt way more than a regular?
I think it's different for different people. So like to me, I feel like it doesn't hurt as bad because it's not this consistent like in and out of a needle going, you know, where with stick and poke it's like or hand poked it's um dot by dot by dot by dot really close together. Um so that can get a little tedious and annoying for people maybe, but I don't know. For me, I felt like it didn't hurt as much.
Hmm.
Yeah. All tattoos hurt. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Ask him how he feels about the new generation of pop punk bands and what he thinks about the bands the Newfound Glory inspired over the last 3 decades.
um, well, I think that it's really cool that we have inspired a lot of bands to start. And it's really cool, how I mentioned earlier, like seeing some of these bands get blow up. Um, I like how a lot of the more recent pop punk bands have taken more of like a Midwest emo sort of vibe to it, like incorporate that in their music, like um Modern Baseball and like Hot Mulligan and like those kind of bands have like definitely take on a more emo side of things to the pop punk genre, which is cool. Um, and I know to like not to confuse people because emo is very different for me than what people consider emo now. Um, I know a lot of people consider like My Chemical Romance emo or like even some Fall Out Boy songs. I'll hear like especially like my 15-year-old being like to my younger one who likes Fall Out Boy, Jude, you're so emo, you know. But emo for me was like more jangly, like Mineral and early Jimmy Eat World and Promise Ring and that kind of stuff. Um, but I do love how there's so many cool young bands coming out that are doing it in like a cool way, like really deep, meaningful, like sometimes depressing lyrics, but the juxtaposition of like off this like super fun and bouncy like music. Um, and I do think that's cool.
Was there ever a point where you thought about going solo?
Nah, I don't think it's for me.
Even your guys' side projects, like you would go and do other stuff, but Newfound Glory was always like the center nucleus of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think the solo thing for me would. I don't know if I would do that. I don't. I've never. People have brought it up to me in the past, obviously,
Did anyone
in the
ever
early
try
days.
and get you to do it?
No, no. It was more like a. Have you ever thought about that? And I was like, no. I like being in a band. Like it's way more fun. I don't know. I feel like the solo thing. It's like all the pressure is just on you, you know, and it's not like this unit. Um. So nah.
What was it like headlining the Parkland Strong show? Since you and Ian both are from that high
Yeah.
school.
It was a little emotional, going to that school because I went to that school. I went there at 10 through 12. So I missed freshman year because I was at a different high school, but um, I was there 10 through 12, and the school was kind of newer at that time. And when all the things happened, the shooting and everything, like um, we felt like it was almost like a responsibility to do something because that's where we grew up, that's where we came from, that's where we went to school, and we needed to give like more of a people for people to take notice of what's going on, and the fact that so many people showed up to that show like was overwhelmingly emotional, and we raised a ton of money, and it was a really it was a great thing to happen off a really crappy situation,
Yeah.
uh, you know. And I'm glad that we did it, and I hope that people that had that traumatic experience and they were able to come to our show and at least like forget about that time for a minute, you know. Um, and so I'm glad that it was good. Yeah.
Let's talk about record labels. Newfound
Okay.
Glory's been on Drive Through, Epitaph, Pure Noise, Hopeless, Geffen, MCA.
Uh,
After so many labels, why not just release independently?
we've definitely thought about it, but I also think that the independent thing could be cool in a lot of ways, but in the same breath, we want to focus on tour and writing records and putting out music and not having to deal with all the business crap of it all. It takes a lot of responsibility and a lot of um, extra work on our part to have to do that. And it's really nice where we could just focus on being in the studio and writing a record for a label as opposed to like being the label too. Um, and that's kind of, I mean, that's pretty much why, you know. Um,
Outside the four guys in Newfound Glory,
yeah.
who else is part of the team?
So obviously our manager Kristen. Um, we have our booking agent Andrew Ellis. We have our CPA Mark Zlasco. We have our tour manager Elena, plus all the crew like our techs like Brian Ward and Buck and
It's like the
like
essentials.
yeah.
Oh,
We don't have like a really huge team behind everything. Cause again, it's like we just have really, really awesome, good people in our corner. Like it's quality over quantity for us. And I think it also has to do with the fact that we are kind of like self-driven, like self-driving, like we do a lot of like the stuff, like, you know, um, which is different than being our own label. Being your own label is so much work from what I've heard and, you know, knowing what it's like behind the scenes at like going to a label and knowing what they all have to go through to put out a record and stuff. But as far as like doing work, it's like, you know, if we have good people in our corner and it's that quality over quantity, then we can just focus on having fleshing out our ideas and making them come to fruition and that kind of thing.
was
So,
it? Are those always just band decisions and everybody just like throwing in their 2 cents? Let's
yeah.
do this together as a unit.
Hmm.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
It's always like a democracy, you know.
Yeah.
That's how we've always kind of been.
How's Chad doing now?
It's up and down, you know. Some days are good, some days are not good, but he's, you know, he's he's a I think I always say beast, but I want to think of something new because he's more than a beast. Like I don't know what the word would be.
A warrior.
Warrior, yeah, yeah. But he's like, you know, he's just doing all the things that he can do and again, like even though we're on tour, like he's at home like constantly emailing and constantly merch designing and constantly stage ideas and so, you know, it's good. It's good for him to do that. Um and I'm grateful for that.
This has been so awesome talking to you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Just one last thing.
sure.
What do you think? What do you want the Newfound Glory legacy to be?
Honestly, man, I just want people to remember I want the legacy to be people really knew that I want people to know that we're just normal dudes and we've gone through a lot of the things that y'all have gone through and we're just really grateful that we can still do what we do. And I want people to know that we appreciate people so much, you know. That's kind of like where I want the legacy to kind of be remembered as.
What's your favorite part about all of it? Is it the performance?
I would say the performance is a majority of it, yeah, for the hour and a half that you're on stage, because a lot of it is just like waiting around, and it's just like, where do you want to get coffee today? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Let's go to catering again. like, you know what I mean? So that's a lot of, I think a lot of it is the performance. And just like for me, it's a lot of, I like meeting people, you know, and hearing people's stories and it's really cool when people can come up to me and say that like a song has gotten them through something or any of that stuff. Same with tattooing for me. Like a lot of it is actually really getting to know people like one on one, you know. Um, and partially too, like my wife kind of pushed me into it because I needed a hobby. to get me out of the house. But yeah, but yeah, a lot of it is like just meeting people and hanging out and stuff. So yeah.
Is is when you return back to, sorry, I know I said we were done.
No, that's good.
Do you need, we could do you
Dude,
gotta
I
go?
got all night. I got all night.
Okay.
I don't even know what time it is. What time is it?
It's 9:30. No, 4:30. Is that when you're coming back to Warp Tour and you're seeing all your friends, is it a weird feeling seeing like we're doing this again? Like the
Yeah,
fact that it's Warp Tour?
yeah, yeah. It's weird that we're doing it again, but I feel like Warped Tour now is so because we haven't done it yet. Like this is our first time.
Oh, you haven't done any of them?
None of them yet.
Oh,
So this is our
wow.
first ones back like doing it, which I'm excited for. Like it's gonna be fun. We're doing DC and Mexico City and you know, I think there was one other one too.
Long Beach?
No, not Long Beach. Okay, there's one other one, but it's gonna be really fun to see everybody, like the old like Warped Tour crew, and but it looks I mean, it looks like a huge fest. Like it's because Warped Tour back in the day, you know, had the motocross, and you had like the big blow up like times and you know, on the big blow up thing, and
Was that
it was like
stressful seeing
condensed, you know.
was that stressful seeing when you were performing?
Yeah, so stressful. It's so stressful. Like I remember the last time we did the full Warp Tour, whenever that was, 2015 or it was like Resurrection era, 15, 16, I can't remember, but um we were doing San Diego, and it was gonna be a big one. It was in the parking lot of Qualcomm Stadium, and I had all these people coming, like all like my wife, kid, you know, the kids, and like friends, and my brother and his kids, and I'm like, just so you guys know, I don't know what time I'm playing, right? So just show up like, you know, as when doors are opening. And sure enough, we were the first band to go on that
Oh.
day. And that's what I love, but I love that about Warped Tour because it like just keeps everybody humble, you know? And there are bands that like have been on it over the years that have like the big heads, and then they get what's coming to them. They end up playing like move to the side stage and like having to play early every day, but like you just if you expect it and know like that it's gonna come one or two of the days, then it's just whatever, and it's still fun. Like we played first on the stage on the main stage, but it was still wild. But again, it kind of just sucks for the people that like don't get there early enough, you know, and they kind of miss out too. So I like how it's stressful, but I liked how they did it, you know.
Do you have like any fond memories that stick out to you other than what we said earlier?
Um,
Because it's
yeah,
just
just
like big camp.
yeah, it's like camp for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people in bands would probably say the same thing of just like the hangs afterwards, you know, because all the buses are parked next to each other, and people are just out under tents, you know, they're like pop-up tents, like with like lawn chairs, you know. And there was a year where us and Taking Back Sunday, we parked next to each other a lot, and we just hung out a bunch with them. And then there was a year where we were like in the elders circle, even though we weren't the elders at that point. Like we were um parked next to Pennywise and Floggy Molly, and we just hung out with them all the time. And like Fletcher would be like, "I'm riding on your bus tonight," and be like, "Yes, sir." You know, like, and that was always fun. He was you know, fun hanging out with those guys, and so it's been. And then of course like meeting new bands too. Um, one of my bands that I really love, kind of newer, not super new, but that band Drug Church. Like first time I met those guys was on Warped Tour, and they were super fun dudes, and so it's a good time to meet people and hang out with people.
How'd the Newfound Glory bus evolve over the years from when you first started to where is it now?
um, well, Ian used to smoke a lot of weed, which he's very open about. Um, he's been sober now for 10 plus years. So it was a lot of people coming in and out to the back lounge of the bus to partake.
Are you ever surprised at who's back there?
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, like, you guys talked about earlier, not earlier, but you've talked about like Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, are you ever surprised at who he manages to get?
yeah. Yeah, that was the Snoop Dogg thing though. That wasn't on Warped Tour. That was
Jimmy Kimmel?
yeah, it was Kimmel, and he was like kind of co-hosting for a week or so. And we like hung out with him backstage in his dressing room, and he had his whole crew, and it was just like fog machine in there. So, yeah. and then it kind of evolved, and then the bus kind of evolved. Like we still kind of have people hang out and stuff, but it's less of a party vibe, and it's more of a just chill and watch The Office or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so
We got to
cool.
watch our programs, after the show.
Is that why you named one of the songs
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
new album?
yeah. Boom roasted.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I know it's like an old episode, but it's just one of those that sticks. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming
cool.
by.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Guys, go check out the new album. It's going to be linked down below. And where can everyone see you coming up soon?
Us and Yellow Card on the Up Up Down Down tour.
Left, right,
Left,
left, right,
right,
BA,
select,
BA, start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for coming by. See ya.
Thanks, man.
That was great.
Yeah, thanks.